Good evening. It's April 4th, 2022. I want to welcome you to the City Council meeting in Columbus, Wisconsin. We are meeting tonight on a Monday because tomorrow, our regular meeting day, is Election Day. And our city clerk, Pat Gable, will now take the roll.
Albright.
Present.
Arnold.
Here.
Clark.
Present.
Gray is excused. Motive.
Present.
Reed. Here. And Roki.
Present.
If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances, and so I am now looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Alder Motive will make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we are going to move on now to correspondence and communications. Has anybody signed up tonight to speak? Oh, okay, great. Okay, so we have nobody signed up to speak at this meeting. We do have someone who wishes to speak at the next meeting, the Committee of the Whole. So this meeting, by the way, has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. And so I am now looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Alder Rolke will move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Alder Albright can second that.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve tonight's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion, anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to new business. The first item of business tonight is the resolution for the closure of TID number 3. And I can talk a little bit about what this means. On February 16th, we approved calling the bond for TIF 3, and then at that meeting, staff provided council with projections from Ehlers that showed it could be closed out 1 year early in 2022. And we must adopt a resolution and submit a form to the Wisconsin Department of Revenue by April 15th, 2022. And so we are considering this tonight. Matt Schreiber's here. If anyone has any questions about what we're doing, or Matt, do you want to add anything to?
No, I think you covered it sufficiently.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Matt before I ask for a motion? In that case, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the resolution to terminate TID District Number 3.
Alder Albright can make a motion to approve the resolution to terminate TID number 3.
Alder.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Reed seconds.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve terminating the resolution, or we're approving the resolution to terminate TID 3. And is there any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote on this, please.
Clark.
Aye.
Motive.
Aye.
Reed. Aye. Roki.
Aye.
Albright.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, now we will move on to item number 2, under new business, is to consider a lease with the Dam Farms for the land that is located off of Tower Drive. This is the parcel, a 7-acre parcel on the southwest corner of Tower Drive and Hamilton Street, and the city acquired this in 2021. And we don't have any immediate plans for this site in 2022, so staff is recommending that the city consider leasing 5.3 acres of the land to the Dam Farms. And we have leased from this family in the past, and they are interested in continuing to rent this land.
Yeah. The
So-
only thing to clarify, they've actually leased this land previously from the previous owner.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, that's right, right.
That's why we reached out to them to see if they had any interest in continuing to lease it for the short term.
Okay,
So,
thanks for clarifying that. I'm looking for a motion for approval of this lease.
Alder Motif will make a motion to approve the lease with Dam Farms.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve the lease with the Dam Farms for this land over on Tower Drive and Hamilton Street. Is there any discussion? And we don't need to do a roll call on this one, do we? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay. And now we're going on to number 3, which is to consider the application for the Lot 6 site plan in the Columbus Commerce Center. Something that we talked about at our last meeting. And Matt, is there anything, some kind of summary you want to provide about this?
Lot 6 is the one I would probably want to comment on most because we've had discussion at Plan Commission and then at this level about the easement and relocating that easement. So I wanted to give an update to the council. Let me, I guess, back up and first say that this is part of the new 11414. So to have more than one principal structure on it and a single lot of record, you need to have your site plan approved by Plan Commission and Council. So that's what they're doing with this step. One of the issues on Lot 6 is they have an access easement that we use to get to a lift station on an adjacent parcel. Is in a location where they want to have an apartment building. They've been told that obviously the easement needs to be relocated. They made a proposal of moving it closer to the north side of the lot line. After some discussion at the staff level, we are recommending that it be relocated to the middle of the drive aisle, and then on the north side of Building B, which is shown on their site plan, it would kind of head to the north to get to the lift station. When we've talked with the applicant, they were willing to accept that change. I do not have a revised site plan for this evening, and I don't see them online. They said they were going to join via Zoom, but I guess my recommendation would be to approve this contingent upon the easement being relocated to the center drive aisle. That would be my preference. They still have to go through the complete set of plans as required by 7815 of our code. So they'll still have to go through a staff level review that will be very thorough. It's just, at this point in the phase, I don't think it hurts to add that extra condition just to make sure we have that in place. So,
Okay.
Any questions?
And the Plan Commission did approve
Correct.
what you are presenting tonight?
Yes,
Okay.
they recommended approval for.
Okay, anyone have any questions for Matt? Okay. In that case, I am looking for a motion to approve the recommendation from the Plan Commission regarding the site plan for Lot 6 of the Columbus Commerce Center.
Alder Albright can make a motion to approve Lot 6 site plan in Columbus Commerce Center, including the amendment for Lot 6 easement update. Is that satisfy?
That'll work.
Put a contingent of an updated site plan.
Well, no, I mean, I think the way she worded it, contingent upon the relocation of the easement. Or maybe I didn't understand. What could you repeat your
I just
motion?
said, the amendment, okay, so I said something like including an amendment for the easement on Lot 6 update. Does that not make sense? Do I need to say this over?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to
Okay.
think it through.
So let's,
Contingent upon the new site plan.
okay, so contingent is the word you want? Okay, so Lot 6, Alder Albright will make a motion to approve Lot 6 site plan in Columbus Commerce Center with a contingent on the Lot 6 easement update.
That works, okay.
Okay.
And did we have a second for that? Okay.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we consider the application as stated by,
Here?
oh, Alder Albright? Okay.
Excuse me?
I'm just saying.
I got distracted because Alder Motive just said that the Plan Commission also recommended approval for the site plan to allow for multiple principal buildings on Lot 7. Approval is contingent for the location on the easement. So do we have our lots mixed up?
Are you talking, that's a typo on the memo.
Okay,
I
it's a
realized that
typo.
earlier. I was actually going to mention it during my report, but I forgot, and yes. So you're talking the last paragraph? where it
Yes,
says- Yeah, it
yes,
says lot
that's what she was
7,
pointing out to
and
me.
it should have said lot 6.
All right.
That is, yes.
Okay, so are we still good? And did
I
we
am,
get a second?
We did get a second, and so it has been moved and seconded that we consider the application, we approve the application for the Lot 6 site plan as described by Alder Albright. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And now we're going to move on. Number 4 is to consider the application for Lot 7 site plan in the Columbus Commerce Center.
This one is more straightforward.
Okay.
Plan Commission approved this. There aren't any easements that are really impacting anything. This one is, I
No
don't have anything to add. really.
Okay, all right. In that case, I am looking for a motion.
Alder Motive will make a motion to approve the site plan to allow for multiple principal buildings on Lot 7.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the application for the Lot 7 site plan in the Columbus Commerce Center. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is to consider the updated service agreement with Liturgic Publications Incorporated for publishing of the Columbus Commotion. And Kyle, did you want to?
In the event there's any questions I can answer, it's a 5-year contract. It's at no cost to the city. There's a potential upside if they sell enough advertising that there's some profit or revenue sharing. But this is to continue publishing the Commotion for the next 5 years.
So I am looking for a motion, if no one has any questions for Kyle about approving this updated service agreement.
I just have one question, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure. It looks like there is a small difference between the business as it's listed in the agenda item as Liturgic Publications and how it's listed in the service agreement as liturgical publications. Does that matter?
I would list it as they have in the contract. So Liturgical Publications, Inc.
All right. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. So I am looking for a motion to approve this updated service agreement.
Alder Motive will make a motion to approve the agreement with Liturgical Publications, Inc.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve the updated service agreement with LPI to publish the Columbus Commotion. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, moving on now to number 6. We are considering ordinance 768-22, an ordinance to create section 104-22 of the City Code of Ordinances. And this came up because at our final stormwater utility listening session, a Columbus resident questioned how easily future councils could amend the ordinance and potentially change the ratepayer protections that this council has established. So that resident suggested adding one final layer of protection, which is that any changes to the ordinance must be approved by a supermajority of the council, which is 5 out of 6 alders, or 83%. So if you approve this tonight, the attached amendment would require that any changes in the stormwater utility in the future would require supermajority to vote in favor of the change. And this is the final change in advance of the referendum. So does anyone, Kyle's here and knows more about it too, if you have any questions for him. And if not, I am looking for a motion.
Alder Motif will make a motion to pass the stormwater utility update regarding the supermajority.
Alder Albright will second that.
So it has been moved and seconded that we pass this proposed update of the stormwater utility ordinance, requiring a supermajority to make any changes in the future. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. The next item on our agenda, number 7, is to consider the capital equipment plan. And that's a 5-year capital equipment plan for non-utility operations. There's a spreadsheet that was included that indicates what we're going to purchase, when we're going to purchase it, and most importantly, how we will pay for it. So it's a significant effort towards a comprehensive global capital plan that will incorporate and accommodate capital equipment, capital projects, and capital building plans in the same fashion. Kyle, I wonder if you want to add anything?
Just to kind of leapfrog on what you said, this is sort of a planning document, so we're not spending any money, but we are committing towards incorporating this into the budget process that we're going to be starting in the next few months. And this is kind of an engagement of a lot of money over the next 5 years, and there's a demonstration of how this will play out over 20 years. But this is a good first step into kind of climbing our way out of some antiquated equipment and some deferred equipment needs that we've just kind of let go because of funding constraints, so.
Does anybody have any questions for Kyle?
I actually, Kyle, could you, so I got a comment that some people that are watching, they don't have the spreadsheet in front of them. Could you just do a quick sum up of what we're talking about purchasing and how much of it is based on how much we're going to borrow and whatever is going to come out of the general fund?
Sure. So in the next budget year, we're looking at expenditures of over $1 million, which would be funded by about $100,000 in tax levy and about $500,000 in borrowed funds, and then also some funding from the rural group as we're sharing the purchase of a truck. And so in the next year, we would plan on completing the dump box on the 2006 plow truck, replacing a lawnmower, replacing a squad car, replacing the engine 92, which is a shared expense with the rural group, and then replacing also the 1998 tender, which is, I believe, fully a rural group expense. And then there's a 2007 fire department pickup truck that we would also be replacing. And there's, there are 5 years worth of this, but I think, are you looking for all 5 years or just kind of the next?
I think that was just, we just wanted a quick sum, so.
Okay.
Somebody said, well, you have nobody said what it was for, and I'm like, well, because we're buying stuff. I didn't have the packet, I'm like, okay.
Any other questions? Trina, did you have? Okay. And this is a plan. It's not a plan to spend money. It is just a plan to have a plan. And so I am looking for a motion to approve the plan. Is that right? We're actually approving the plan tonight? Okay.
Okay, well, Alder Albright can make a motion to approve the capital equipment plan that starts in 2023 through 2027.
Alder Motive will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve the capital equipment plan as stated. Is there any further discussion? So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is for your approval. I would like to appoint Bill O'Donnell to the Senior Citizens Advisory Board. His term would be expiring in 2025. And if you have any questions about that, if not,
Hi. Reed moves to approve the mayoral appointment of Bill O'Donnell to the Senior Citizens Advisory Board to expire in 2025.
Alder Rolke will second.
so it has been moved and seconded that we approve the appointment of Bill O'Donnell to the Senior Citizens Advisory Board for a term that would expire in 2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and thank you so much. And the next item on the agenda, item number 9, is to consider and take action on claims in the amount of $223,849.72.
Alder Rolke will move to approve claims in the amount of $223,849.72.
Reed seconds.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve the claims in the amount stated, and we do a roll call on this one, right? So unless is there any further discussion? Okay, then we'll do the roll call.
Clark?
Aye.
Motive?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Rolke?
Aye.
Albright?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we're moving on to the report of city officers. So we will have Kyle Ellefson, our city administrator, go first.
All right, thank you. A couple items tonight. State Highway 89 project is going to be starting within the next couple days, so people will need to be aware of some closures and detours and some other project information. Our website has a page dedicated to the project for information and updates. You can also access that from our scrolling banner right on our homepage, or you can go to the DPW department page, and there's a sub-page just for that project. You can also sign up on the email and text alerts to receive emails and texts for project updates as well. The organizational and compensation study is moving along. They will be here next week to start interviewing a variety of staff and city officials. And if you have any questions about the status, just let me know, and I can try to gather the information from them if you have questions about sort of their progress or any information that they might be finding that you might be interested in. Also, a reminder to the council to submit any training or orientation ideas that you have or that you would like to see incorporated into the upcoming orientation sessions. Although Alder Albright had several suggestions that she submitted, and I think Alder Motive has also mentioned a few things, but if you have any items that you think you'd like to hear more about in the next month, just let me know, because that will be coming up very soon. And then finally, I just wanted to give kind of a shout out and recognize everyone involved in responding to the wastewater treatment plant last night. There was a 911 call that sounded ended up to be nothing major, but the initial call sounded to be pretty serious. They were talking, potential for an explosion or something like that. And so I just wanted to thank the police department and sheriff's department, the fire department, Columbus Water and Light, Public Works, the wastewater treatment plant staff. They all came out on a crummy Sunday night and worked through the problem. Luckily, like I said, it wasn't anything major. But those are the events that I think are a great demonstration of working together and sort of across departments working together. And that's when you tend to see us working at our best. So I just wanted to make sure I publicly said thank you to all of those. Oh, yes, thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay, great. Well, tomorrow is the spring election, so don't forget to vote. And polls are open from 7 until 8. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. City is still in need of crossing guards, so please consider applying if you're looking for a part-time job, or you can sign up to be a substitute, which my husband has done, and he actually got called to go and help kids cross the street today on Fuller Street, and he had a great time. So please consider contacting the police department if you're interested in doing that. Amy Jo Myers from the Columbus Rec Department is excited to announce that the Easter egg hunt for this year is on Saturday, April 16th, starting at noon, going till 3 o'clock with games, food, and prizes. She says the actual egg hunt is at 3:30 when the Easter Bunny blows the siren. So this is a free event, and there's also an opportunity to take part in a drawing for a bike, either a boy's bike or a girl's bike. You do have to buy a $10 Easter egg. And that happens on the same day. And all money that is collected from this raffle is going to go towards the fundraising efforts for the rec department. Families can still purchase their pool memberships. She wanted people to be aware of that. And she has in big letters, big news, swimming lessons and summer day camp enrollment will open on Friday, April 11th. So I guess that's pretty exciting for people with kids. And it's, I guess you go to the MyRec on the website, or is that a Facebook page?
Friday the 11th or Monday the 11th?
Friday the 11th?
Monday.
Oh, Monday the 11th.
Yeah.
So we're all getting our dates mixed up here. So Monday the 11th. Also wanted people to know that Columbus Rec is going to again offer chaperone field trips this summer to places like the zoo in Madison and the Horicon Marsh. And to please go to the Facebook page if you would like more information. Lots going on with the rec department for kids and families. And Paula Steiner from the Chamber of Commerce would like me to remind everybody that Red Bud Days will be happening the weekend of May 14th. And our farmers market is going to be opening up again this summer. A lot of people looking forward to that. And that is pretty much all I have. And so I am now looking for a motion to adjourn this part of the meeting.
Alder Albright can make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we adjourn the city council regular meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned and we will start. good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Columbus Common Council Committee of the Whole Committee of the Whole. And it is Monday, April 4th, 2022. Our council president is not able to be here tonight, so I am going to carry on in his place. And I'm going to ask our clerk, Pat Gable, to do the roll call.
Albright,
Present.
Arnold,
Here.
Clark,
Present.
Motive,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Rolke,
Present.
and Gray is excused.
So tonight's meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. And so the next item on our agenda is to approve tonight's agenda. So I am looking for a motion.
Did we want to approve it with the subtraction of item 13?
We could do that.
Okay.
We definitely can. I was just going to throw it off later, but no, we'll do it the right way.
Officially, then, I will move to approve tonight's agenda with the removal of agenda item 13, convene to closed session.
Okay.
Alder Motive will second.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve tonight's agenda with the exception of item 13, which we are going to table until our next meeting. And so is there any further discussion? So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Then the next item on the agenda is citizen comments, and we do have someone here tonight with us. Mr. Singh, would you like to,
He will be available if you have questions on his alcohol license.
okay. Oh, so that's it. So it's not really a citizen comment? You didn't?
Not really, nobody's
Okay.
here. He had to sign in and he was here. And if you had any comments regarding
Okay. Okay, good to know. I'm sorry I misunderstood that. And thanks for coming. Then the next item on the agenda is commission and committee minutes. Those are all in your packet. And so I am looking for a motion to approve the commission and committee minutes.
I think we should place him on file.
Okay, we don't need a motion for that? Okay, all right, in that case. Then we are moving on to review the Class A liquor and fermented malt beverage license for the Columbus Market. And that's located at 501 Park Avenue, currently the Senex Convenience Store, and they would like to be able to obtain a Class A liquor and fermented malt beverage license, which they don't have now. Is that correct?
Right now, he's in the process of purchasing the property.
Okay.
So currently, the Senex has a Class A, which they could sell beer and liquor, and you take it away.
Okay.
And he is purchasing the property and is applying for a license so he can sell beer and liquor
Okay.
as a Class A license.
And so if anyone has any questions for Mr. Singh, he's here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm realizing I'm in the mode of the regular meeting. We don't really need to,
Just establish consensus, basically.
okay, we need to, so we don't really vote, correct? We just,
No.
okay. In that case, what are your thoughts about moving this to the regular agenda for our next meeting? Is there any discussion on that?
Me too.
Okay, good. Well, great. So it'll go on the agenda for our next meeting and for approval at that point then. Okay, thank you so much. And now we're moving on to reviewing the street closing request, Chamber of Commerce, and this is regarding Red Bud Days that are going to be happening May 14th. The Chamber would like us to approve or move this to be approved at our next meeting, this request to close the street so they can do all kinds of fun things from 10 to 2 on Saturday, a brat fry, a chalk walk, a barbecue, ooh, this sounds good, a barbecue, cook-off, rib cook-off, music, more to the community. So does anybody have any concerns about moving this on to the agenda for our next meeting? Okay, great. Okay. Next item on the agenda tonight is to review the Transportation Alternatives Grant update. Matt's here. I know there was some question about this, so.
Yeah, so I guess what I wanted to do in the memo is just kind of give an overview of this project and kind of how everything kind of came to be to where it's at. And there's been a lot of moving parts that got us to where we're at. So the TAP grant that was awarded really started in late 2019. So WSDOT rolled out a program that was called the MLS program. And don't ask me what MLS stands for because I really couldn't tell you right now. But it was a grant program that was basically set up for local municipalities to apply to complete a variety of projects. The city ended up applying for 2 different projects. And unfortunately, we're unsuccessful, but one of them was a Dickinson Boulevard reconstruction project out here in front of City Hall. And the other one was a trail, bike and pedestrian trail project. Shortly kind of thereafter, I was contacted by somebody I knew at WSDOT, and they were asking, are you guys going to submit any TAP grant projects? And I was like, well, I don't think we really have anything well-defined where I could turn around and give you a project. But then I looked at this MLS grant project that Rooker Milky developed and submitted. And I was like, I recognized that this was going to be a good fit. So we went through the process. Council supported the grant application. Everything was submitted. Thankfully, we were awarded the TAP grant in September of 2020. One of the things that the TAP grant didn't include was the real estate component of it. And later on, we identified a DNR program that we could utilize to kind of help offset the real estate component of the project. So we applied for the stewardship grant through DNR and were awarded that. As you may remember, in January of this year, we approved the using L.A. Dusterbeck to do the appraisals for that project. So it kind of led us to where we're at in this project. And I know there's been some discussion recently about the process that has been used. I would say the project right now is still in its infancy stage. There's no design, and that's where there's been some confusion on when public involvement meetings have happened. There's no clear set policy as far as that goes. So we've really kind of followed what has been the standard procedures that we've done in the past with this project. The other thing I wanted to just kind of note is looking in the packet, you can kind of see where it started from the MLS grant, and that's where this project came from. So I put that in there. And then also I wanted to put the memo that was put together for the appraisals that was done in December of this year to kind of outline where things are along this project that where we may need to acquire some real estate. So I guess with that, I'm here for a discussion about the process or the project in general, and just have answer any questions you may have.
So I have a question. So, okay, so can you kind of explain what transpired as far as with the appraisals and the resident that emailed us about this? I'm just trying to understand, okay, so they were there for appraisals. Is there something that should be done now to let people know that this is just in the beginning, but this is what's going on?
Is part of the appraisal process. I don't know exactly what transpired between the appraiser and the resident, but as part of the process, I know they were contacting property owners.
Oh, I think you misunderstood my question. So the appraiser was out there for what reason? Are we going to be purchasing like a small portion of that land by the creek? Is that what that's
Correct.
for? Okay. So the appraiser was out there because they were trying to get an appraisal dollar rate for the land that the trail would be running on.
Correct.
Okay, I don't think that was super clear in my head. Okay.
Does anybody have any other questions for Matt about the grant or the proposal?
What are the next steps?
Well, the next steps would be to continue with the plan as council's approved. I guess that's the direction staff's been given until told otherwise.
So I think the next step after the property acquisition part goes through will be to work with the engineering company to get the design. I think, as far as like next steps, I think the design is what is actually going to be coming next once we've secured the property.
I'm sorry, that was, I kind of brain farted that question, what Kyle said, sorry.
And we're hoping, if all goes well, that this would actually, come into being. How soon are we looking?
I'd have to go back and check the official schedule. The funding is committed, I believe, in fiscal year, and I think I can't remember if it's state or federal fiscal year. I believe it's in 24, and with design starting next year.
Okay.
And then we have till 26 to complete the project.
Okay.
So I have one more question. So what happens if you have a resident that doesn't want to sell us that plot of their land? What happens then?
Yeah,
You don't know?
at this point, I think I'd have to talk with the city engineer and try to figure
Okay.
out what our next steps would be.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I just have to say that this project has been so piecemeal, being that it's been so far out, and when it was started, it was like 2019, and so those of us that are new were kind of like, oh, really? Okay.
Well, and I'll just add that, when we get into a capital improvement planning, rather than the equipment planning, I know Kyle's talked about doing capital improvement planning, having that 5-year capital improvement plan would make projects like this less piecemealed and make a lot more sense to not only those on council, but the general public as well.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry. go ahead,
No problem. Just for early planning, throwing it out there, I was wondering if we would, have a plan to go around, any large trees. I just, know that if there are any along the plans, what will become the planned area, I just know that will become a dramatic point once it gets closer if there are some major healthy old growth trees along the path. I'm just hoping there's a plan to go around and not cut down if it's possible.
I would have to talk with the city engineer when they're in the design phase of considering that. I'm sure they take things like that into consideration along with the topography, and there's probably a whole variety of factors that they look at. But I will make a note to share that with Jason.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Matt? And are you comfortable moving this to the regular meeting?
This was
Or
more of
this
a,
was- We've already I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we've already voted on this, so
Right.
this was kind of for clarification?
Right.
For,
Right,
okay,
because, the
Right.
resident contacted us.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that we knew what was going on.
right. Okay. Moving on now to number 9 is the memorandum of understanding for the community gardens. And Matt, since you're up there?
Yeah. So this is one that has been in development for some time. We actually came to council last September to talk about the community gardens going down by Butterfly Trails Volunteer Park. And ultimately, when the city was able to acquire the land on Tower Drive, on Tower and Hamilton, where the community gardens is now, it gave the flexibility of them remaining, of the community gardens to remain where they're at. After some discussion with the community gardens, that's what they elected. So what I did with the help of City Attorney Johnson was I took our, if you looked at the Dam Farms lease, this is kind of, basically took some of the framework from that and pared it down to something that made sense for the community gardens because some of the items in there really didn't apply. And then we added the item number 5, talking about the Department of Public Works. As we were talking with the community gardens, they indicated they had a need for mulch to kind of help the pathways, to kind of keep the weeds down and things like that. And they said they could never really find it. And then when we were talking with Jerry from DPW, he's like, yeah, we always have a bunch of mulch down at the recycling center that goes unused. So it was like, great, we had a place where we could kind of have the mulch and kind of two birds with one stone kind of thing. So I sent this out to the community gardens. I have not received any comments for or against it. But being that we're close to growing season, and knowing that I do think that the council's indicated in the past that they've supported the community gardens, I think I wanted to get this process going. There might be some minor tweaks between now and April 19th, but I figured this was one that we could get going. The other thing I wanted to mention is the rent. We kept the terms the same as what the Olivet had with the community gardens, where it's just $1 per year, but basically them making their tenants make sure some of their food's available to the local food pantries. I think it doesn't say Crossroads or Columbus Fall River, but I think that's a good thing to have, and I figured that was something I just put in there. I don't know if you'd want to change it, but I just wanted to point out that came from the past practice. So
I think that's a great idea. So any further questions on this? I think everybody's going to be happy those gardens are staying where they're staying. Yep. And
just a note, I did put in there that the term is also the same as the the other crop leases we have, where it's basically year to year, and the city or the community gardens would have by May 1st of a year to basically say this is our last year. And then at December 31st or whenever the growing season's over, the lease would expire. We talked about maybe putting something in that if we didn't need this land for city purposes, that we could work at Butterfly Trails, but I think we should just focus on this land for now and then worry about those sorts of things at a future date, so.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Great. The next item on the agenda is the quote to repair the Vector truck. And Katie has information for us.
Well, I'm here to request some repairs for the, request some repairs for the Vector truck. Basically, the repairs are for the pumping equipment and the vacuum equipment for the jetter truck that are in desperate need of repair. We took the truck down to McQueen Equipment, which is the company that usually does the repairs on this truck, for inspection, knowing that we had some things that needed to be repaired. They went through the truck, gave us a quote of a total of $31,572.47, which was a little bit above the budget that I have put away for vehicle repairs this year. So we went through with them on things that were a little bit more urgent, and I listed them in the agenda. Again, most of this is pumping equipment and hydraulic equipment. This isn't repair of the actual truck, so. And we kind of whittled it down to about, $19,946.88. Some of the repairs we can do ourselves, and some of them we'll probably have to push to next year, or hopefully in some future, we'll be looking at another truck. But this will get us through 2022 and be able to continue to do the televising and the jetting that needs to be done in town here. So hopefully, if approved, we would be able to schedule this for repair, possibly a week or week and a half it would take to repair, and we'll get the truck back and we'll be able to continue doing our jetting, so. If
Okay.
y'all have any questions?
Thank you for being so frugal and detailed about what was urgent and what was not.
Okay, thank you.
What was in the budget? I mean, does this eat up your entire budget for repairs?
It doesn't, not the whole budget. I believe I have about $24,000 left in the budget. Much of that is gonna be for the sludge spreader that we need. I had taken that in for inspection also, but, yeah, we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul here, to decide what is more desperate at this time. And the jetter, it really needs to be repaired because of emergency situations. So if something comes up with the spreader, we'll probably have to hire that out. Or move money around to pay for that.
That's what I was gonna ask. You did such a great job of breaking that out. Is it putting you in a position, putting some of that stuff aside? I mean, do we need to move some funds around to make it happen at all?
Well, I'm still waiting for Duffy's. We've taken the spreader down to Duffy's. I know I need $10,000 to completely repair the spreader. That includes new tires. If we take the tires out of that equation, I have enough money. So we may have to move some money around, but for now, this will cover this, that we need to have done now so that we're safe and we don't have any issues with this truck, so.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions for Katie? And are we comfortable moving this to the next? Okay, thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is to review the changes to the city's fee schedule. The current fee of $35 no longer covers the cost to publish a single alcohol license for the 3 consecutive publications required for a daily newspaper. So we are requesting an increase to $55, and the Hillside Cemetery Association approved the recommendation of the DPW director to increase grave staking fees to $75. So, I think, Pat, if anybody have any questions, you have any further information on this? For the
No.
alcohol publication
Yeah,
fees?
for the alcohol publication, that's been the $35 for a long, long, long time.
Okay,
And since we moved to a daily newspaper, we have to publish it 3 days consecutively,
okay,
as opposed to once a week.
right,
So that would change that cost there.
okay,
And as far as the staking fees, that's, the recommendation from the DPW director went to Hillside and they approved that.
okay. So, any questions on these items? Any problem with moving these on to the agenda at our next meeting? All righty. And then we need to review the resolution designating officials authorized to declare official intent under reimbursement bond regulations. And Kyle, I'm going to let you handle this one.
All right, thank you. So as you, if you've been on the council for a while, Trina probably knows, we tend to lump our expenditures, capital expenditures into borrowings, and we might borrow once every 2 years. And that certainly covers, when we do the borrowing, some expenses in the future, but we also tend to have some expenses, like right now for Highway 89, that are already starting to come in. And what we typically do then is spend down fund balance up until the point we get that borrowing, and then we refund the fund balance. In order to kind of follow along with the federal tax exempt borrowing regulations, we just have to make it a little bit more formal. 2 ways to do that. One is every time we get a bill, it could come to the council and you adopt this resolution for every expenditure. You can also designate staff to do that internally, so that each time a bill comes in, whatever staff you had designated, whether it be the administrator or the treasurer or both, could fill out the form so that we can refund ourselves in the future. It doesn't allow us to spend money that's not already in the budget, or spend money that isn't authorized by the councils, but I think it would give us a little more flexibility if you allowed staff to complete that paperwork.
Sure. You have a question,
I
Shelley?
do have just a quick question. So are we talking just every dollar that comes through that you want to approve, or do you have like a threshold that you're looking at?
Anything, whether it would be a single dollar, if it was going to be reimbursed with those funds, we would have to fill that out.
Okay.
I mean, that's typically
So
not.
$1 or $20,000?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Kyle?
I like the idea of staff doing it, but I would like to see both the city administrator and the treasurer have the signature.
Okay. So are we comfortable moving this on to the next agenda? Okay. Well, that's it for the agenda items. Is tonight the last meeting for alders who are not running for reelection? Yep. Okay, in that case, I want to take a minute and thank Michael Clark for helping us out by stepping up when we had some vacancies on council. Also Amy Rolke, but of course Amy will be back. Fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure if I were a betting person, I'd put a lot of money on it. And so we look forward to working with you. But thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And then, oh, yeah, our pleasure. So, and I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Yeah.
Alder Modoff will make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Alder Oki will second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.